When Kyle and I first got together, we were really overweight. Then, when we started dating, we got heavier and heavier together until we reached our heaviest weights, 375 pounds for Kyle and 275 pounds for me. We started getting health problems. We were both really embarrassed of ourselves and ashamed of ourselves. We were using food to cope and make us feel better, and we couldn't tell each other about it. We were holding a lot of stuff in, a lot of anxiety, a lot of low self-esteem stuff, and we knew if we kept doing that, if we kept gaining weight and holding stuff in, things could get worse. And we decided to lose weight. So we lost 130 pounds each. And we thought if we could just lose weight, that everything would be perfect and all of our problems would go away. However, once we lost the weight, nothing was perfect, and we realized we had more problems than we thought. Kyle and I have been together for 14 years. Is that true? Almost 14? No.
It feels like 50.
Kyle and I have been together for almost 14 years. When we met online. Like I said before, we were both really heavy. We were embarrassed to meet people in public, so we met online. And at the time, it was through MSN Messenger, and I had an old picture that I had put up of when I was smaller, and he didn't even have a picture. And we made a connection, and we really started liking each other, but we didn't really know what each other looked like. And as time went on, we knew it was getting closer to wanting to meet each other. We started to talk on the phone, and we kept delaying meeting in person because we were both ashamed of our bodies. We didn't want to tell each other that we were actually quite heavy. And I remember one day saying to Kyle, like, I'm not a small girl. And I remember him actually saying, it's okay, I'm not small either.
Girl. I'm not a small girl either.
And I remember feeling a little bit better, but we still delayed it. We talked online and on the phone for a year before we met because we were both so embarrassed of our weight. And when we finally met, this is gonna sound cheesy, but it was love at first sight. But right before, the day before we met, I did this really weird, like, diet cleansey thing where you go and you get like wrapped up in all this stuff, and it's supposed to make you lose like a ton of inches and a lot of weight. So I went and got that done so that I would look way skinnier than I actually was. And Kyle told me later that he did a crash diet too, where he didn't eat any carbs so that he could lose weight and be smaller when we met too. I remember still being so ashamed. Like, I went and I got new clothes, and I tried to make myself look as small and as pretty as I could. But I was so ashamed, and I had no self-esteem, and he was really the first person that I had ever actually dated because I was so embarrassed of myself and my looks and my weight. We ended up, even with the crash diets and being heavy, we made a connection and we fell in love. And you know, like I said before, we started getting even heavier together. We were both using food to cope. We didn't really want to deal with anything. We both had a lot of anxiety. We were really sad and embarrassed of ourselves. But even though we loved each other, we weren't being honest with each other because I was embarrassed to say, like, I have to use food to make me feel better. And I couldn't talk about how ashamed I felt of my body or how I dealt with things. And I had so much anxiety that I kept inside. I couldn't advocate for anything that I wanted, anything that I liked. If I, got my feelings hurt by something, I couldn't say it. And I realized later on, it was the same for Kyle. We were both bottling things up. And because we were so embarrassed of ourselves, we couldn't open up to each other. As time went on and we lost the weight, we thought, oh, everything's gonna be better. But when we lost all the weight, we learned how to not use food to make us feel better. So the problem got worse. We actually got all that anxiety back times 10.
We only fixed the physical problem.
We didn't fix the anxiety problem. And because we couldn't curb our anxiety with food anymore, it was coming more and more where we would be so stuck in our head that we wouldn't really make more connections with each other or be open and honest because we were holding everything inside.
We actually started living even more separate lives than before. When we were like taking care of our emotions through food, we weren't really being ourselves. But when we lost the weight and figured out, well, we have really massive anxiety, we separated even more because we were under the assumption that losing the weight would make everything better. And that really hit us hard when we realized it wasn't the case.
And also we realized it didn't have, it never had anything to do with you, with Kyle. It had everything to do with me. I didn't feel confident enough or believe in myself or think I was worth it to be the real me. And when he says we got more separate, the funny thing is, we did everything together. We still do. We were always together. But we were so apart together because we were up here, we weren't being present. So we'd be doing stuff together, but we weren't really totally enjoying it because we couldn't get out of the anxiety in our bodies and in our heads. Then we realized, okay, we've lost weight, we're healthy, we got married, we really loved each other, but we knew if we kept doing this and we didn't deal with the anxiety, our relationship, we knew there was potential, but we knew it couldn't grow if we didn't start dealing with stuff.
Yeah, we would talk to each other, not as much as we do now, but even back then, we wouldn't listen to each other. So we could have a conversation, all surface level stuff, and not deal with anything, not be real with each other, and then both come away frustrated because we weren't listening to each other.
It was we were so stuck in our own pain, in our own anxiety inside ourselves that we couldn't even love each other enough to listen to each other. And once we realized we're worth it and we love each other and ourselves enough that we wanted to really form that bond and open up, we started healing. And I mean, we still struggle. We still have struggles with anxiety where we'll get in our head and Kyle can tell, oh, you're a little stuck today. And I can tell, okay, he's stuck today. But what we do now is we'll say, you're really quiet. Are you stuck? Are you having anxiety? We ask each other. And we got to the point where we said, okay, let's just tell each other everything. We know we love each other. We know we don't judge each other. So it doesn't matter what it is, what time of day, whatever we're doing. Let's just say, hey, I'm really stuck. I'm worried about this. I'm afraid you're gonna judge me for this. We really started loving ourselves and each other enough to listen and to really help each other through those moments. Our relationship, as you guys can probably tell in our recent videos, and it's really strong, our relationship now, because we listen to each other. Anytime we're stuck, we talk it out, and we're fully honest and non-judgmental with each other. So no matter what we're struggling with, we can tell each other, and we know we're gonna listen and we're gonna help each other through it, whether we just need an ear, someone to listen, or whether we actually need advice. We do that for each other. And now we can fully be ourselves and we don't judge each other. We have so much fun with each other. What you guys see on camera is real. We do that off camera. We tease each other. We are honest with each other. We talk to each other. We have similar interests, and we do everything with each other because we're best friends.
Now, I am still a guy, so when I am struggling, I'm very quiet, and Nicole can see that. And just if there's any, you know, couples out there listening, or any girls that have a boyfriend or husband or whatever, if they're quiet, they're not necessarily mad at you for something. They're not necessarily judging you for something. It means they're really, really struggling. And what guys do when they're struggling is they shut down and become mute.
And that's a really good point, actually, because in the beginning, like, I'm not the typical woman, but I'm still a woman, and like, if I'm stuck, I talk a lot. And
I hadn't noticed.
But I noticed that I would be honest with stuff, but then he would be very quiet. And I always, because I had low self-esteem, I took that on, like Kyle said, like he was judging me for something or he was mad at me for something. So I stopped talking. And now I realize when he's quiet, it has nothing to do with me.
It means I'm stuck.
And so now I know him so well that I'll give him some time and I let him come to me. I just be patient with him and love him through it.
Yeah, you just give me like 4 or 5 years and I'll talk again.
And then eventually he'll tell me what was bugging him, and I'll say, you know, I kind of had a feeling, but I wanted you to be ready. And he'll notice when I'm stuck that, you know, like I have anxiety, I can't stop moving. So he'll say like...
Or talking.
Or moving my hands. And he'll call me on it when it's appropriate and say like, can I help you with something? So we wanted to share this because, you know, you might think that your partner's being quiet or talking too much or whatever, they're getting on your nerves for some reason, but what you don't realize is that they might actually be shutting down, and it doesn't look like a shutdown, but they might be struggling something that has nothing to do with you, but internally, you know, they might suffer from anxiety, or they might just have had a bad day or something and they can't figure out how to get it out.
Or for a lot of guys, they think it's weakness by sharing their feelings.
Yeah, and I remember saying to Kyle all the time, like, it's okay to tell me. I'm not gonna judge you, and it doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you more of a man to admit it and tell me, and then we can work it out. And now, like, we're honest with each other and everything has improved. Our relationship is so strong. We can create these, you know, videos to help other people. We do it as a team because we have such a strong bond. And it doesn't mean it's perfect. We still, you know, have anxiety or shut down or whatever. But we now read each other like, okay, if he's quiet, it probably has nothing to do with me. Sometimes I'm probably, you know, a pain, but most of the time it's that he's struggling with something, you know, and he knows the same for me. If I'm bouncing around like I had 10 cups of coffee, it's probably not because, well, I'm always hyper, but it's probably not that. It's probably because I'm stuck in my head and I can't settle, because if I settle, then I'll have to deal with it. And
we know that a lot of you guys are in relationships that watch us, and we just want to give a word of caution. Unless you're real and unless you're being honest with yourself and your partner, things won't get better in your relationship just by losing weight or by having a kid or by buying a house
or by getting married.
Yeah, it's not going to make it better until you're deeply honest with yourself and your partner.
Yeah, that's very true, because we got sicker together, heavier together, we got healthy together, but because we weren't being open with each other, it didn't fix anything. Opening up and showing who you are, this is me whether you like it or not kind of thing, that is how you get a stronger relationship. And in touching on the losing weight too, sometimes we get questions about, well, my partner doesn't want to lose weight, and how do I get them to be healthier? And it goes to the same as like when Kyle shuts down, I can't force him to open up and he can't force me to stop bouncing around. We can just love each other and be role models. Like I can open up and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. And he can say, just so you know, I love you and I'm ready to listen whenever you are ready to, you know, open up.
Also, this works too.
And just being a role model and just being loving and patient. And if the person wants to lose weight or wants to open up and be honest, they'll come along when they see you doing it. But you can't force somebody. You have to be your best you and believe that you're worth it to have a great relationship, to be at your healthy weight. And that's all you can do. So be your best you, be open and honest, take me or leave me, and that's it. So we love you guys. We hope that this has inspired you to be your best you, and love ya. Yes, don't forget to do the bells, like click them. Hit love the bells, do the at the Instagram, at the Colette's, and the TikTok at the Colette's, and do the stuff. And check out our weight loss guides and our fight through it gear down below. Thank you, peace out, goodbye.
Whoa, that's a cool trick.
This is cool too. And this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Come on, ballerina.
Yeah. She's bouncing around again. See you guys.
Bye guys. Remember the friends that weight loss isn't just about the number on the scale. It's also about here and here. Heart and mindset. Fight through it. You can do it. Don't give up.